Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel, surprise video. This is the Jesus Wants You channel. I'm Nikki Pratt. Welcome to all my current and new subscribers. Listen, I'm doing this video. This is the Because I Cried Out series. This series actually is supposed to have another name, but I'm not going to tell you until the end of these 8 chapters. I think it's 8 chapters. But I'm doing this video early because on Thursday, I have a wedding to prepare for singing, and yeah, it's that time of the year. So, many of you know, if you've been a subscriber of mine, you know I do weddings. I sing at weddings sometimes. So, anywho, I am going to start this chapter. Also, the other thing is I'm waiting on 2 important phone calls. So my phone may ring and I may have to pause the video, but you don't want to miss this. Each chapter is getting gooder and gooder. Bad English, good teaching and preaching. That's all I'm about to say. I'm doing these series because I know there are some men and some women out there that may be going through these exact type things and situations, and you're probably wondering what to do, when, why, or what, but you need to listen to this. Okay, this first chapter, this is a short chapter too, by the way. It's not as long as the first one was. It's not long at all. And the title of this chapter is A Damsel in Distress, the Seduction, okay? And I read, I was glad to be separated from my husband. He could not get clean from drugs. In fact, I don't think that neither one of us were really interested in being married anymore. I moved from up north to the south to get a fresh start in life. I was putting my past behind and started to attend a new church. I wanted to be more involved in the church activities. Things appeared to be looking up. I lived with some of my family members while working on getting my own apartment. When I got the call from the community clinic director who said, Yanni, you have been hired as our new medical records supervisor. I screamed. What more could a girl ask for when starting over? I was young and fine. I knew it, and everybody around me knew it too. I mean, here I am, this supervisor over people who are older than me. I was a hard worker, and the job was going to get done. I had to say so myself. I was handpicked very well. I had gotten close to one of my supervisees, Regina. Regina was so holy. She was always talking about God. That was all right, but I was not always in the mood to hear Bible scriptures or religious quotes. She was cool, though, because she was my church member, too. I was really at a good place in my life. One day I was walking through the clinic. I saw this tall, dark, handsome young tender. He smiled. How are you? I said, fine. He was waiting to be seen by our contract dentist. I guess that is why he had such a nice smile. Apparently, some of the ladies knew him because I had not seen him before. I asked one of the ladies if she knew the handsome man. She responded, girl, that is Michael, and he works as a supervisor for one of the local plants. I thought to myself, that brother is attractive. He finished his appointment and waved goodbye as he exited the building. I peeped out of the blinds to see him pull off in a brand new, custom-made F-150. I figured he would come back again since they knew him. He returned for a follow-up appointment. This time, he asked me out. I was so excited. Michael and I started going out. He was extremely nice to me. We went out on pleasurable dates. He responded as a well-mannered gentleman each time. I knew this time around I would choose a good man. I was going to get it right. One Sunday, I invited him to go to church. He did not go to my church, but he invited me to his instead. This was just as good. I was impressed. He was a winner. There was nothing that he would not do for me. I owned a little Honda Civic that needed work done, so it therefore had to be placed in the shop. He gave me his vehicle to use. The ladies at work were amazed. One of them blurted, Yanni, you have to be special. Michael is not the type of man that allows women to drive his vehicle. This made me feel as if I were special. We continued to date for about 3 months. It was in the 3rd month that I was introduced to his mother. I was surprised to know that she was living with him. "Hi, Mom, this is Yanni." I said hello to her. She was sitting on the sofa watching television. She looked at me and bluntly voiced, "Don't think you are the only one that's getting sexed." I was shocked and speechless. Michael looked at me and smiled. He said, "Never mind her. She is really not well." "I can see that," I retorted. We made love for the first time that night. It was beautiful. I had fallen for this man. Michael was amazing. The next day at work, I had a smile most of the day shift. My office phone buzzed. "Yanni, you have a call on line 1. It was the apartment manager at Cedar Crest telling me that I was approved for an apartment. Yes, yes, yes. I danced around the office and twisted my hips down to the floor just as if I was in the club. I tried to do the split, but my legs would not go all the way to the ground. When I got up and turned around, Regina was standing in the door with some paperwork in her hand for me to sign. I embarrassedly picked myself up off the floor. "You're in a good mood," she said. "I just got approved for my apartment and I will be moving in this weekend. Forgive me for being so excited." Regina hugged me and congratulated me, but she did not seem to be pleased. "What, girl?" I asked. "God has blessed you with your own place. I am just going to give you a bit of advice." "What is it, Regina?" "I know you're excited and everything, but girl, do not give Michael a key to your apartment." I signed the papers. Regina walked away and closed my office door. I thought to myself, I'm saved, but I'm not that saved. I moved all of my things in my apartment on the next week, and Michael helped me. "Oh, I forgot. Here's your key, Michael." He gladly placed it on his key ring. Several weeks had gone by. He would spend the night, but he would never commit to staying with me. I guess I could understand. He had his own place and wanted to be there for his mother. He continued to provide transportation for me to get back and forth to work. In the eyes of my coworkers, we were an item. Income tax time had come around, and Michael and I dated for some months now. He surprised me. "Yanni, would you move in with me so that we could be together more than we have been?" I thought on it for a moment. I did not want to break my lease. However, he provided my transportation to work. It made more sense to move in with him. "Yes, Michael, I will." Regina and I went to lunch that afternoon. She gave me one of those weird looks after I told her I was moving in with Michael. "Now what?" I asked. "Girl, do not leave your apartment and move in with that man." "Why not?" "Because you have your own place. That's why not." The intimidation. I moved out of my apartment and in with Michael and his mother. I had not embarked on him at his mother being a package deal. I loved him, therefore I accepted it. Besides, my lease was broken. I couldn't get directly back into another apartment if I wanted to. I received my income tax the same week I moved in. Timing could not be more perfect. The Honda never got fixed, so I needed a vehicle. Michael had good credit, so we put the car in his name. He said that once it was paid off, he would place the vehicle in my name. We went to the car lot. I saw a few mid-sized cars that were suitable for me. "Look, Yanni, pointing at a truck. That's nice royal blue truck, Michael, but I need a car, and plus it is a Dodge Ram." How many of you thinking that, I think Michael wanted that for himself? What you think? "But it looks just like you. I can see you in that truck, girl," Michael said. I thought to myself, since it is in his name, I'll go ahead and get it. Besides, after I'm through paying for it, I can trade it in for what I really want. We got the truck. I was living with Michael and his mother for a week. Michael started leaving home to go to work. He would come home really late on some nights. I had suspicion that he was with someone else. When he did come home, he would have sex with me several times in the night. There was no way he could have been with anyone. He put all of his energy into love-making. Initially, I did not say anything, but his late-night interests became frequent. I had to say something because we were not going out anymore, and I hardly saw him until he came home at night. I decided to confront him. Michael, how are you going to leave in the morning and stay gone all day long? The only time I see you is when you come home at night. Michael snapped. Don't come to me with that nonsense. I have been working all day, and then you want to come to me with complaints? You need to find somebody else to play games with you. Michael continued to come and go as he pleased. Even though he was not home throughout the day, he knew my every move. He could tell me everything that I had done the entire day. I started to feel like Michael no longer wanted me. The only relationship we had was sex. We had stopped spending together. I threatened him that I would leave. Now, Yanni, where are you going to go? That truck is in my name. Who are you going to go to? I told him that I would figure it out later. Of course, I had nothing to figure out. I had nowhere to go. I loved him. I was not ready to leave. However, I did think about it. I did not leave, though. If I left him, I had great intentions on taking the truck, but he would just have picked it up from my job. That would cause me embarrassment. After a month of living with Michael, he had stopped giving me any money. He was giving money to his mother and his brother, who also moved in with us in the same month. His brother then moved his girlfriend in. Eventually, his cousin and her 2 children moved in. Oh, Lord. We only had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. His family was sleeping all over the place. It was really getting crowded in that little space we had. I could hardly breathe. One night, Michael's family was talking about moving in a bigger house to have enough space for everyone. The apartment was entirely too small for the 8 of us, and we needed a bigger place. I said, I was thinking the same thing. The next day, Michael said we were moving in a house. I'm thinking to myself, finally. We moved into a house that was 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Now it was me, Michael, his mother, his brother, and girlfriend, his cousin Brenda, and her 2 children. Brenda moved her boyfriend in, and that made 9 of us. I was not willing to pay any bills with all of those people living there. Somehow, my money was still dwindling away. Even though I was not paying bills, I was taking care of the family wants. Michael had a family that loved to party and entertain. I sponsored all the food, entertainment, and parties that we wanted to facilitate. I found myself with no money and living from paycheck to paycheck. Michael never slacked on having sex with me. In fact, he increased the number of times we would have sex in a night. He used sex to keep me pacified, but went out to do what he wanted to do. I knew that he was out doing something that he was not supposed to. I justified his actions by saying there was no way he could be having sex and with anybody else because he is having sex with me way too much. He started changing more and more for the worse. He continued to pay the bills, but I would never see his money. He made sure that he kept his credit in good standing. I continued to finance trips, clothes, and all of the family wants. Michael's family loved him. They put him on a pedestal because he was like a hero to them. From time to time, I would ask Michael about his discreet whereabouts after work hours. Michael would respond rudely to me as usual. I told Michael that I was not willing to just live there while he did whatever he wanted to. He would make statements such as, "You won't be nothing without me, girl," or "You're fat and nobody wants a fat woman," or "I'm the only one that wants you." The things he said to me were ugly when in fact I had male coworkers that told me I was attractive and fine. Michael did not think so. I knew it was time to leave, but where was I going? I loved him, and I was not ready to leave him. Bold domination. My coworkers knew that I was going through some emotional problems. My agitation showed up in the workplace. He had so much mind control at this time, I could actually have somewhat of a peaceful day until he talked. Michael could call me at work and change my entire mood. The rest of my day would be filled with sadness and despair. I could no longer concentrate on the job. I needed to be with him in order to ease my mind. On one particular day, Michael got dressed to go to work. He looked so calm, I got up and dressed for work as well. During my lunch break, my intuition told me to go home for lunch. I called him before I left for lunch. What are you doing? He says, I'm screwing. I laughed. Boy, you are silly. I was only calling to see what you were up to. I needed to hear your voice. After that, I hung up the phone. I realized that I wanted to see him for lunch. I grabbed my purse and headed home. The receptionist walked in my office. She told me about a lunch special at the deli around the corner from the office. She was paying, so I decided to go with her to lunch instead. I got home from work to return with the family sprawled everywhere. When I got in my bedroom, I noticed that it was unkept. The one sure thing is that I made my bed a certain way. Someone had either been sitting on my bed or lying in my bed. I went over to my bed and pulled back the covers. My eyes gripped the sight of several spots and public hairs. Okay, you get the picture. I did not know what to think. My thoughts were running wild. Immediately, I had a flashback of a young female in particular. She was one who came to a party we had given 2 weeks ago. She had a cute face and was nicely built. I recall someone there calling her Stacy. I remembered seeing Stacy somewhere else other than our house. All my thoughts came together. I figured it out. Stacy lived in our community. Her house was a few streets over. I got in my truck and drove to her house. When I pulled into the driveway, a young woman came out of the house. She said her name was Sabrina. I asked her about Stacy. She said they were cousins. I boldly asked Sabrina if she knew anything about Michael and Stacy. My anger caused her to fearfully spill her guts. She told everything. She said that Michael picked Stacy up this morning and took her to our house while I was at work. I was so hurt. I could not believe he was that bold. I could not wrap my head around the fact that he would do something so that roach. He came home that evening. I met him at the door and started screaming at him. Michael, you slept with that little skeezer around the corner. You had the nerve to have sex with her in our bed. He looked at me with no remorse and said, yes, I did. Ooh. Now, I already know some of y'all are like, oh, hell no. I know. Calm down. He said, yes, I did. Now, what are you going to do about it? Ooh, Lord have mercy. I could not say anything. I was shocked and at a loss for words. He had told me point blank that he had sex with this girl in our bed. Now, what was I supposed to do? What was supposed to be my next move? Not one move. I had to show him that I was not going to accept this disrespect. I decided to move. I moved out of our bedroom and into a bedroom with his cousin Brenda. Really? It didn't seem to matter to him at all. I was so lonely sharing a room with his cousin. Brenda had her own life. Michael had no lonely moments. He had his family for comfort and emotional support. Within 3 days, I was back in his bed. I do not know why. I knew that I wanted to be with him. I had good intentions to do something about it. I just could not bring myself to follow through. The longer I stayed, the worse Michael had gotten. We had more arguments. He called me more profane names and became increasingly disrespectful. I continued in hope that our relationship would work. We needed to be on our best behavior due to the wedding event. Michael's sister wanted to get married at our house, so there was a lot of planning to do. What I did not know was that she was going to invite Michael's ex-girlfriend. I did not like that idea. I had to respect that Michael's sister and his ex-girlfriend had a bond before I was ever in the picture. I could not call shots over that matter. I just needed her to respect me. On the day of the wedding, everything was made perfect for his sister. We rearranged the house to proceed with the reception. The crowd came and grew great in numbers. The liquor supply had gotten low. Michael walked over to me. "Baby, can you go and buy more liquor?" "We have more guests than we expected." "Sure, baby," I said. I grabbed my purse and went to a local grocery store. I grabbed several bottles of wine. She reminded me of Jesus at that point. Turning water into wine, she danced. Anywho, I hope this is enough to last the remainder of the night. Upon my return, I walked through the door. Everyone was, wait a minute. Before anybody say something bad about what I just said, she don't remind me of Jesus per se, okay? I'm just talking about the wine issue. Some of y'all can be. Everyone was standing around quiet with weird looks on their face. I wondered what was going on. Brenda pulled me to the side and whispered in my ear, "Yanni, Michael has his girlfriend in your bedroom." My heart fell into my stomach. The ex-girlfriend quickly ran out of her bedroom and straight out of the front door. Everyone stood around to see my response. I felt helpless, scared, alone, and most of all, deeply cut. I could no longer stand and my legs weakened. I fell to my knees and started screaming and crying out at the top of my lungs in front of everyone. "Why, God? Why? Why? Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you help me?" I could not stop crying on the floor. I could feel that all eyes were on me. Not one moved. No one consoled me. I was by myself. As I lay there on the floor, I heard God speak in a calm voice. "I did warn you. I blessed you with your own place. You are on the enemy's territory, and he has the right to do whatever he wants to." It was then that I realized I needed to restore my relationship with God. I needed God more than I needed Michael. I started going back to church so that Michael could start treating me right. I wanted God to fix this mess of a relationship. My pastor was happy to see me on the first Sunday. Her message was centered on adultery and fornication. I felt like she was talking directly to me. I was convicted while in service. I knew that I needed to start refraining from sex with Michael before our relationship had become narrow. That week I denied him sex for a few days, but eventually gave in. It was hard considering we were in the same bed every night. I continued this cycle of denying myself sex for some days and eventually giving in to sex. It appeared that it would always happen on a Saturday night. I would feel guilty about fornicating the night before, so I avoided church on Sunday. I stayed in this cycle until I missed a cycle. I was pregnant. The breaking point. "Michael, I'm pregnant." "Well, you need to have an abortion," he said coldly. The night he took his pillow from the bed, that night he took his pillow from the bed and slept on the floor. He refused to touch me at all. This was horrible moment for me. Why would this man want me to get rid of my baby? The next day I went to work. I had no focus the entire day. When I returned home, his family greeted me with ugly comments. They would take turns asking me if I was going to get rid of the baby. His mother said, "Michael does not want a baby, so you need to get rid of that munchkin." These verbal attacks on my pregnancy went on for about 3 months. We had no sex for these 3 months. I returned to church and had counsel with my pastor. I told her about my situation and what I was dealing with. Her first instruction was for me to leave and get away from Michael's family. She said, if these people are trying to convince you to harm your child against your desires. She said not to do any harm to my child. Your child's blood would be on your hands. Now that you know God and you have received him as your personal Lord and Savior. I have to pause this, you guys. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. She said if these people are trying to convince you to harm your child against your desires. She said not to do any harm to my child. Your child's blood would be on your hands. Now that you know God and you have received him as your personal Lord and Savior. I slept with him again in the 4th month. He was not angry with me anymore. He started to act the way he did when he first met me. He was charming again and very loving towards me. I finally thought that God had answered my prayers. What I did not know was that he continued to sneak around with other women. I decided to refrain from sleeping with him again at almost 5 months pregnant. He grabbed me, threw me down on the bed, and raped me. I felt violated. I knew my time in this relationship had really expired. I started to long for my own place, a place I can call my own. My credit was horrible and I had broken my lease. I humbled myself and asked him nicely if he would help me to get an apartment in his good name. He answered so humbly, yes. Delivered but not gone. I found an apartment that would be suitable for me and my unborn son. He would be here in another 4 months, and I wanted a peaceful environment for him. The apartment manager called me and confirmed an opening. She told me to come in and complete the application process. I told Michael that my apartment was ready. He responded, so what? I'm not getting an apartment in my name. I decided to go see the apartment manager without his help. She allowed me to complete the application in my name and pay a deposit. I was approved instantly. God had opened the door without his help. I had enough money to pay his first month's rent. Sadly, I did not sleep in my apartment. I continued to live with Michael in hopes that our relationship would work out for the baby. Let me just insert this real quick. If you're in a relationship and you know you're not having any peace, and if you're in a relationship, you're not having any peace at all, that's your clue. That's God speaking to you right then and there, letting you know, because there is no peace, there is no God. God is not in that. And if you're afraid and you know you need to leave, step out on faith. Faith without works is dead. Because if it's something that you're supposed to do and God wants you to do it, just like this happened, the door will open. The door, I am a living witness. The door will open. I don't care how bad your credit is. What's for you is for you. What God has for you is for you. I just had to enter that. Somebody may have needed that. Okay. So she says, Michael started truck driving academy. Therefore, he had to be out of town weekly. My relationship with God was growing. Michael was away, and my prayer life increased. As I continued to nurture my spiritual life, God started speaking to me. God revealed to me that I had made Michael my idol and my God. I realized that every move I made was about Michael. Every dollar I spent was about Michael. My every thought was Michael. My only concern was to please Michael. I was submissive to Michael and his every beck and call. I immediately prayed for forgiveness. I asked God to restore my life. Gone with the wind. I moved out with Michael. Every morning I would go to my church's prayer service. I continued to talk to Michael, but I did not have sex with him. I cried the remainder of the time that I was pregnant with my son. I could not understand why Michael did not want me or my son. I would drive around the city trying to find him when I did not know his whereabouts. I continued to give him my money and would neglect my own electric bill. I was not able to deny Michael in money until I actually saw him out with another woman. God was constantly revealing and delivering me. A week later, he came to me after spending all day with some women. He asked me for money. I could not believe it, but my mouth said, no, I'm not giving you anything. He was highly upset. Out of revenge, he told people that I was not carrying his child. Another week had gone by after denying him money. He returned to my house and asked me to release his key off of my key ring. I gave it to him. At almost 9 months pregnant, I continued to talk to him over the phone. I refrained from seeing him, though. I continued to seek counsel with my pastor. She told me that it was important that I did not go back to this man or his household, she said. I will suffer along with my baby. Michael asked me to come back to his home. Yanni, I want my family back. I know that we have been through a lot. I really think we need to work it out for the sake of the baby. My heart raced after hearing his concern. I wanted to go back to him really bad. Any mother would. I remembered the words spoken from God and my pastor. I responded, I can't. The next month, I saw that Michael and his family had moved out of their home and into the same apartment complex as mine. He also moved his girlfriend in with them. This was horrible for me to drive back and forth and see them every day. I realized that God kept it in my face and in the forefront of my mind so that I would never go back to what he delivered me from. I had a very beautiful son, and I thank God for him. God is awesome, and he loved me enough to get me out because I cried out. From my distress, I called upon the Lord. The Lord answered me and set me in a large place. The Lord is for me. I will not fear. What can a man do to me? The Lord is for me among those who help me. Therefore I shall look with satisfaction on those who hate me. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. Psalms 118, verses 5 through 9. And that ends chapter 2. My take on all that, of course, she started in the beginning of this book, I think I read, and she was saying don't be judgmental about these women telling their true life stories and testimonies. Because I know there are a lot of you who are saying, I would never, but honey, I'm here to tell you, never say never. Because I was one to say I would never let a man beat me, and therefore I did. So you don't know what you would do in a given situation. And women are nurturing beings. Sometimes we put up with a little more than we should or we can handle. But God knows all and he sees all. And of course, if you cry out to him, he will always answer. And Psalms 91 said, if you call upon his name, he will deliver you when you're in trouble. And this lady was definitely in trouble, but in a sense she did. She made him her idol, and we've all been there, and even in this story, I know that there are some of you out there that can identify with one or a piece of a situation. I don't care what it is, even just if it's gone down to putting up with what his mom said to her. Somebody done dealt with something on this level. But I'm hoping throughout these this relationship series of these different situations that, there'll be it's something in it that somebody could hear and might even help you and get delivered from. These scriptures that she used at the end of the chapters, maybe you can look at it and meditate on it. But when you develop a relationship with Christ, he will always see you through, and he will always talk to you. But it is only then when you could sow to the Spirit. And I'm in that situation right now where I am trying to diligently sow to the Spirit so I can reap the benefits from the Spirit, because it's like this. If you can be all up in Christ's business, he will be all up in your business, and nothing by any means shall hurt you, nor anyone for that matter. So, again, Thursday I will be out. I have a group of people to be with practicing for this wedding. And so I wanted to go ahead and do this because I won't be doing this video Thursday like I had planned. And but there are some videos coming up. It won't be Thursday, it will probably be Friday, Saturday I have to go out of town. A little quick trip and run back. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next video. Thanks.